Don't Call the Office, written by Madison Reevely and Megan Williams, performed by the Fine Arts Grade 2-3 class.
It was Monday morning and Cameron could not wait to go to school. Her friends Sadie, Kayla, Becca, and Jimmy were going to build the biggest, greatest, most awesome fort their school had ever seen. Before Cameron left the house, her mom said, "I'll pick you up after school today. Have a great day." Cameron nodded and said, "Okay," and ran out the door.
At school, Cameron, Sadie, Kayla, Becca, and Jeremy spent all recess designing the biggest, greatest, most awesome fort their school had ever seen.
Cameron watched the clock all day, waiting for the last bell, so she and her friends could get outside and build their fort. Right before the bell rang, Cameron's teacher, Mrs. Graywell, started to say, "Now, class, for homework, you must finish 60 pages of buzz." Before Mrs. Graywell could finish, the whole class stood up and ran out the door.
Just as Cameron was about to step outside, the office manager, Mr. Watt, made an announcement over the loudspeaker. "Cameron Parker, would you please come to the office?" Cameron turned around and ran to the office. At the office, Mr. Watt explained, "Cameron, your mom called. She is going to be a few minutes late. You will have to wait here."
Cameron sat patiently and tried not to think about her friends building the fort outside.
When Cameron's mom arrived 5 minutes later, Cameron said, "Mommy, next time you're late, don't call the office so I can play with my friends." Her mom nodded and said, Okay.
On Tuesday morning, Cameron could not wait to go to school. She, Sadie, Kayla, Becky, and Jeremy were going to play the biggest, greatest, most awesome game of rocket ship launcher on the swings that their school had ever seen. As her stepdad, Sam, dropped her off at school, he said, "Hey, Cam, I'll pick you up after school today. Have a great day." Cameron said, "Okay." She gave him a high five and jumped out of the car. At school, Cameron, Sadie, Kayla, Beckett, and Jeremy spent all lunchtime playing the biggest, greatest, most awesome game of rocket ship launcher that their school had ever seen.
Cameron watched the seconds on the big clock above the desk, waiting for the last bell to ring. Right before the bell rang, Mrs. Graywell started to say, "Now, class, for homework, you must complete 70 pages of bzzz." Right before Mrs. Graywell could finish, the whole class stood up and ran out the door.
As Cameron pulled on her backpack, she heard Mr. Watt over the loudspeaker. "Cameron Parker, would you please come to the office?" Cameron let out a huge groan and, shuffling her feet, headed to the office again. At the office, Mr. Watt explained, "Cameron, Sam called and he is going to be a few minutes late. You will have to wait here." Annoyed, Cameron sat and tried not to think about her friends outside on the swings.
When Cameron's stepdad arrived 4 minutes later, Cameron said, "Sam, next time you are late, don't call the office so I can play with my friends." Sam nodded his head and said, Okay.
On Wednesday morning, Cameron could not wait to go to school. She, Sadie, Kayla, Becca, and Jeremy were going to have the biggest, greatest, most awesome game of kick the can that their school had ever seen. Before Cameron left the house, her dad called and said, "Kiddo, I'll pick you up after school today. Have a great day." Cameron said, "Okay." She kissed the phone and ran out the door. At school, Cameron, Sadie, Kayla, Becca, and Jeremy spent all their free time sketching maps of the biggest, greatest, most awesome game of kick the can that their school has ever seen. Cameron looked at her watch, waiting for the last bell to ring. Right before the bell rang, Miss Graywell started to say, "Now, class, for homework, you must read 80 pages of bzzz." Before Miss Graywell could finish, the whole class stood up and ran out the door. As Cameron stepped outside, she heard Mr. Waite over the loudspeaker. "Cameron Parker, would you please come to the office?" Cameron let out a huge groan and shuffled her feet to the office. At the office, Mr. Waite explained, "Cameron, your dad called and he's going to be a few minutes late. You will have to wait here." Frustrated, Cameron sat and tried not to think about her friends playing kick the can outside. When Cameron's daddy arrived 3 minutes later, Cameron said, "Daddy, next time you're late, don't call the office so I can play with my friends." Her dad nodded and said, "Okay."
On Thursday morning, Cameron could not wait to go to school. She, Katie, Kayla, Beckett, and Jeremy were going to the biggest, greatest, most awesome book fair that their school had ever seen. Before Cameron left the house, her Nana called down the stairs. "Hey, sweet cake, I'll pick you up after school today. Have a great day." Cameron showed to her Nana. "Okay." She blew a kiss and ran out the door. At school, Cameron, Sadie, Kayla, Becca, and Jeremy spent all of reading time talking about the books they hoped to get at the biggest, greatest, most awesome book fair that the school had ever seen. Cameron looked at Sadie's watch, waiting for the last bell to ring. Right before the bell rang, Mrs. Grable started to say, "Now, class, for homework you must write 90 pages of buzz." Before Mrs. Grable could finish, the whole class stood up and ran out the door. As Cameron zipped up her jacket, she heard Mr. Watt over the loudspeaker. "Cameron Parker, will you please come to the office?" Cameron rolled her eyes so hard that her whole head flew back. She dragged her backpack down the hall. At the office, even Mr. Watt looked frustrated as he said, "Cameron, your Nana called and she is going to be a few minutes late. You will have to wait here." Disappointed, Cameron sat and tried not to think about her friends in the library at the book fair. When Cameron's Nana arrived 2 minutes later, Cameron said, "Nana, next time you are late, don't call the office so I can play with my friends." Her Nana nodded and said, "Okay." On Friday morning, Cameron could not wait to go to school. She was going to the greatest, biggest, most awesome swimming party after school. As her grandpa walked her to school, he said, "Hey, buddy, I'll pick you up after school today. Have a great day." Cameron hugged her grandpa and said, "Okay," before she ran into the school. At school, Cameron, Sadie, Kayla, Beckett, and Jeremy spent all of art class drawing pictures of themselves doing flips at the biggest, greatest, most awesome swimming party their school had ever seen. Cameron tapped her pencil, waiting for the last bell to ring. Right before the bell rang, Cameron's teacher, Miss Grable, started to say, "Now, class, for homework you must fill in 100 pages of bzzz." Before Mrs. Grable could finish, the whole class stood up and ran out the door, except Cameron. Before Mr. Waite could make an announcement, Cameron headed straight to the office.
When she got there, she was surprised to see her whole family waiting for her, ready to take her to the biggest, greatest, most awesomest swimming party ever.
Cameron, see? We didn't call the office. Cameron was so happy that she gave her whole family a group hug. Then they all ran out the door.